A cat appeared in almost every photo from their wedding day. No one claimed it, no one recognized it, and the mystery behind it turned out to be more emotional than anyone expected. The photographer sent the gallery link on a Tuesday afternoon. 642 photos from the best day of their lives. Kate and Matthew sit together on the couch. They start clicking through. For the first hour, everything is perfect. Kate crying at the altar, Matthew laughing so hard his whole face disappears, the dancing, the golden light over the park, the cake cutting going slightly wrong in the best possible way. Then Matthew stops scrolling. He leans forward. "Kate," he says quietly, "who brought a cat?" She looks at the screen. There, at the very edge of the large group photo, sits a tuxedo black and white cat, completely still, sitting with the dignity of someone who received a formal invitation and arrived exactly on time. Kate laughs. "Which one of your cousins did this?" Matthew is smiling, but something behind his eyes does not match the smile. "I have no idea," he says. They scroll forward. The cat appears again, near the ceremony chairs this time, sitting in the grass like a small, composed little attendant who takes his job very seriously. They scroll forward again. A candid shot. Their guest, Renata, holds the cat in both arms, laughing into the camera, completely delighted, like the cat has always been hers. Another photo. The cat near the cake table, just watching. Another. Beside the flower arch, still calm, still there. "Matthew," Kate says slowly, "this cat is everywhere." He does not answer right away. Maybe a neighbor's cat that slipped through a gate, or someone's quirky idea they forgot to mention. He did not think too hard about it that night, but he would think about almost nothing else for the next 2 weeks. Before we continue with what they discover later, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow. And trust me, you need to stay for where this story ends. 3 days pass. Life comes back to its normal shape. Thank you notes, gift unpacking, returning borrowed things to relatives. On Thursday, Kate's cousin Margot stopped by with a gift bag. She had missed the wedding, a canceled flight at the last minute. She arrived now with a card, a warm hug, and at the bottom of the bag, wrapped carefully in tissue paper, a small felt mouse toy. "I thought this would be cute," Margot said cheerfully, "for your cat." Kate stared at her. "We do not have a cat." Margot laughed. Then she stopped laughing. "The black and white one? From the wedding?" "We did not bring a cat to the wedding." "But it was right there beside Matthew during the ceremony." Margot pulled out her phone. Another guest had taken informal shots during the day. Not professional photos, just a personal camera from the 3rd row. In the photo, Matthew stood at the altar during the vows. At the front left of the seating, barely visible but unmistakable, the black and white cat sat on the grass, its back to the camera, facing the altar, facing Matthew. Margot frowned slowly. "I genuinely thought it was yours." The next morning, Kate starts texting guests. She keeps it cheerful. She sends the group photo with a laughing emoji. "Does anyone know whose cat this is?" The answers came back within a day, one by one, each one more confusing than the last. Kate's colleague, Petra. "I assumed it was yours. It was so calm. I thought maybe it was trained." Matthew's friend, Joel. "Dude, I held it for like 10 minutes. I thought it was a venue thing, like a mascot." The maid of honor, Clara. "It seemed so comfortable I never even thought to ask. It acted like it belonged there." The photographer, Gio Bartel, replied last. His message was the shortest, and somehow the most unsettling of all. "I assumed the cat belonged to you. It was completely relaxed with everyone. I never questioned it once." 50 guests, 1 professional photographer. Every single person had made the exact same assumption. The cat must belong to the couple. A cat had moved through his entire wedding, been held by his guests, sat through his vows, and no one questioned it. Because the cat was not afraid. And things that are not afraid are assumed to belong somewhere. He would have left it there. A funny story, something to tell for years at dinner parties. But then Kate posted the group photo. She kept the caption light and easy, something warm, something that felt like sharing a small joke with the world. We thought we invited 50 guests. Turns out there were 51. She drew a small circle around the cat at the edge of the grass, tagged the venue, tagged the photographer, sent it out, and went to bed. By morning it had 400 comments. Most were exactly what she expected. Laughing reactions, heart emojis. Someone joked about the cat crashing the open bar. Someone else suggested naming it +1. Strangers called it adorable, a good omen, a sign of luck. Someone says the cat is clearly the real wedding planner, or that it's judging the catering choices. Kate reads through them smiling. Matthew sits beside her. Then she sees a comment that is different from all the others. No joke, no emoji, just one sentence from an account she does not recognize. A woman named Vera Moss. Profile photo shows someone in her early 50s, dark hair, serious, kind eyes. That is Toby. He lived with Daniel. Kate reads it twice. She turns to look at Matthew. His face has gone white. She watches him go still in a way she has never seen before. Not shock, exactly. Something deeper than shock. Like a door inside him just opened onto a room he had locked and never gone back into. Matthew, she says softly. He picks up the phone. Matthew read those 5 words 3 times. Daniel, his older brother, who had been dead for 4 months. Matthew typed back immediately. His fingers moved faster than his thoughts. What do you mean? Which Daniel? 3 minutes passed, the longest 3 minutes Matthew could remember in recent years. She explained that she had been a friend of Daniel's for several years, not close in recent times, but she had stayed loosely in contact. She had seen the shared post through a mutual acquaintance and recognized the cat immediately. No hesitation at all. She had known this cat. She had sat in the same room as this cat. Daniel found Toby on the street, about 6 months before he died, the middle of winter. The cat was thin and shivering behind a restaurant on Aldermere Street. Daniel had taken him home with the intention of finding a proper shelter within the week. That week became 2 weeks, then a month, then 5 months. He kept him. Vera says Daniel used to send her photos sometimes. Nothing big, just Toby on the windowsill, Toby asleep on a book. Small things. She said he seemed better after that, less alone. No one in the family had known. Not Matthew, not anyone. Matthew sat very still with his phone in both hands. Daniel had died 4 months ago, a cardiac event, sudden. He was 41 years old, wrong in every way a death can be wrong. And he and Matthew had not spoken for 8 months before that. There had been an argument, the kind that feels enormous in the moment and costs everything in the long run. Harsh words on both sides, then silence that hardened slowly, week by week, into something neither of them knew how to break through. Matthew had missed his brother every single day of those 8 months. He had picked up his phone more times than he could count. He had rehearsed what he would say. He had put the phone back down again. He had told himself there was still time. After the holidays, after the wedding, after things felt less raw and impossible. He was wrong. Daniel died on a Thursday in early summer. The words he had rehearsed went unsaid. The phone call he kept postponing never happened. Vera continued typing. After Daniel's death, people had come in and out of the apartment for several days. Family handling arrangements, a few friends. The front door left open more than once during those difficult hours of movement and logistics and grief. Toby must have slipped out then. Vera had tried to find him. She went back to the building twice,
asked every neighbor, posted in local groups, checked shelters. Nothing came back. She assumed he was gone. And then she saw a photo of Toby sitting in the grass at Greenwall Park, calm, surrounded by 50 strangers at a wedding, completely at ease. She almost did not believe it at first. She zoomed in on the photo 3 times. She looked at the shape of the face, the distinctive black and white coat, the way the cat carried itself. It was Toby. She had no doubt. Matthew set the phone on the table. He just remembered that Daniel's apartment was a bet in the same area as this park. Toby had not appeared from nowhere. He had not crossed any impossible distance. He had simply moved through familiar streets to a familiar park, a park where Daniel probably had walked.
He told Kate everything. Matthew looked at the group photo on the screen. Toby at the edge of the grass, perfectly still. "I want to go find him," Matthew said. They went to Greenwall Park on a Saturday morning. Matthew brought a small bag, a can of wet food. He felt slightly absurd walking through the park gates carrying it. He also felt more certain of this than anything he had felt in a long time. They walked the path along the tree line first, then around the pond, then along the stone wall on the eastern edge where morning light broke through the branches in long diagonal beams. Nothing. Then, between 2 oak trees, something moved, low to the ground, black and white, moving through the dry autumn grass with the particular careful pace of an animal that has learned that caution keeps you alive. Toby stopped when he saw them. He did not run. Matthew crouched down slowly. He placed the dish on the ground, spooned the food in, then sat back on his heels and waited. For a long moment, nothing in the park moved at all. Then Toby walked forward. 1 step, 2 more, 3. He reached the dish and bent his head and ate. When he finished, he looked up at Matthew. Matthew held out his hand, flat and low, patient. Toby crossed the remaining distance and pressed his face into Matthew's palm. Matthew felt something shift open in his chest, the feeling of air moving through a room that had been closed too long. He pressed his other hand gently against the cat's side. Toby was warm, solid, breathing steadily. The only living thing on earth that had known Daniel in his final months. The only thing Daniel had chosen to love during the time when Matthew was not there. They brought Toby home that afternoon. This was all Matthew could do for himself and for Daniel, to take care of the cat who had meant so much to his brother. He could not fix what had been left undone. Nothing could fix that. No amount of grief or regret or wishful thinking would give him back the conversation that never happened. But he could do this. He could take care of what Daniel had loved. He could show up for this small life the way he had not shown up for his brother. The wedding photos hang framed in the hallway of their apartment now. The group shot is there among them, all 50 guests, the brick chapel, the string lights in the oak trees, the late September light falling gold across the grass, and Toby at the edge of the frame. People who visit always notice the cat first. They always ask about it. Matthew and Kate always tell the whole story, from the beginning. And people always ask the same final question. Do you think it was a sign? Do you think Daniel sent him? Matthew always pauses before he answers. He did not believe in signs, or messages, or things that could not be explained. But Matthew also believes that his brother, in some way, was there with him that day, in the creature that had sat through his vows facing the altar, in the one living thing from Daniel's life that found its way to the place where his little brother stood and made his promises. Thank you for watching. If this story meant something to you, please like, comment, and subscribe. Your support truly helps me keep sharing stories that matter.